With my athletes, I'm really big on building habits and routines and always having like a backup and a fallback. So the great thing about smoothies is you can keep the ingredients around all the time. Like frozen fruits, milk. We'll talk about lots of different ingredients, but I think a lot of my athletes like knowing that they have a couple backup options of things that they're like, no matter what, I can make smoothies.
Sports Nutrition for Teens, where we talk all things food, sports, and nutrition for peak athletic performance. I'm your host, Liz, a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and youth sports mom. This podcast is for teenage athletes because teenagers are unique. You are still growing, developing, and you're pushing yourself to your absolute limit, both physically and mentally training and competing in your sport. Join me as we talk with expert sports dietitians from around the world who work with the biggest and best athletes. Together, we will simplify nutrition so that you can apply it to your busy, sporty teenage life. We'll learn how you can eat in order to take your game to the next level. This is not your mama's podcast, but she is welcome to join us. Stay tuned to find out how to eat well, feel good, and look great to be the best athlete that you can be. Welcome to Sports Nutrition for Teens. I'm so excited today to be joined by Sara Putt. She is an expert sports dietitian, also an expert volleyball player, and she is going to talk to us today about smoothies. Sara, thank you so much for joining us. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me, Liz. I'm so excited to do this. I've been listening to your podcast for a while. So I'm from Florida, born and raised, and I played beach volleyball in college for 6 years. I tried to stay as long as I could and had a lot of success in college as an athlete, and I even got to play some professionally. However, I would not have had that success if I didn't work on my nutrition, because in high school, I had no idea what I was doing. So I had to learn a lot of this stuff the hard way. And I absolutely love what I get to do now. It's pretty full circle, helping kids, fuel properly. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's a long story short.
And today we're going to talk about why smoothies work for teen athletes. We're going to talk about the key building blocks for great smoothies, when to drink, what type of smoothies, smoothie ideas that Sara has for us, and what not to do with your smoothie. So Sara, why don't you kick us off? Why do smoothies work for teen athletes?
Yes, absolutely. So to give some context, most of the athletes these days, you guys are training more and more like college athletes, younger and younger, busier schedules, more training all year round, no off time, all of the teams in sports, and not getting the nutrition support that a college athlete would. So making sure that you're getting enough and not underfueling is huge. That's the biggest foundation that a lot of athletes are missing. On top of that, having a busy schedule, and then on top of that, being sometimes a little lazy in the kitchen or not wanting to put a lot of effort into food can create a little bit of a perfect storm. So smoothies are an awesome tool and a great solution to all of those problems. I like to talk about them with all my athletes because honestly, athletes are sleeping on smoothies. They can be really valuable to fill in a lot of gaps depending what part of the day you need a different type of smoothie.
I like how you said that. Sometimes you could be a little lazy in the kitchen. We can all be a little lazy in the kitchen, and this smoothie is just the perfect thing for that lazy person in the kitchen.
Yes, can't we all?
Yes.
Absolutely. What I notice with my athletes in private practice is that the main things that they're missing is they're skipping breakfast in the morning. And the 3 reasons is usually you're not hungry in the morning, or you don't have enough time, or it's actually going to upset your stomach. So with my athletes, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And they have a busy day of tough classes and tough practices. So you can't be starting the day running on empty. So smoothie is great for first thing in the morning. You can kind of take it out the door. A lot of times they'll have the schedule where they'll come home for an hour or 2 after school and not sure like what to have in that time before practice. So smoothies, little pre-practice smoothie is a great time there as well. Or we'll run into the problem where they'll eat dinner, maybe around they'll have practice after school, eat dinner around 5 or 6, and then 7, 8, 9 p.m. before bed, they're getting hungry, not sure what to have. A bedtime smoothie is great as well, or even just after practice smoothie. So they are great for different times in your schedule, and you can also kind of adjust them if you're trying to gain weight, or you just need to hit enough carbs for the day as well. And then last thing is, with my athletes, I'm really big on building habits and routines and always having like a backup and a fallback. So the great thing about smoothies is you can keep the rest or the ingredients around like all the time. You like frozen fruits, milk. We'll talk about lots of different ingredients, but I think a lot of my athletes like knowing that they have a couple backup options of things that they're like, no matter what, I can make an oatmeal, I can make smoothies, I can make, beans and rice and some kind of veggie or chicken. So we talk a lot about having like backup plans too, because the busier you are, the more you have to be able to adapt and adjust and be flexible. So smoothies are great for that as well.
That's such a good point, because you don't have to have that fresh lettuce sitting in the fridge. This is something that can sit in the freezer for months and be available when you're ready. And I love that too for those awkward time periods, because there's so much of that with our athletes where you have these blocks, but a normal meal day is hard for an athlete when you're looking at school and sports, and a 5:30 dinner is often not possible in their schedule. So figuring out how to get nutrition in these awkward gaps, a smoothie is so good for that.
Absolutely.
Well, as a busy teen, it does sound almost too good to be true to have this option that's so easy. You don't have to turn on an oven, don't have to wait 30 minutes for it to bake, doesn't have to be fresh, all those things. So how do they do this right? What are the key nutrient building blocks that build a healthy smoothie?
I think it should be similar when you're building a healthy meal. So the 4 foundations for the performance plate, I'm sure if you guys have been listening to the podcast, hopefully we know. We have a lean protein, some kind of carb, so grain or starch or like starchier fruit, healthy fats, and then lots of fruits and vegetables in color as well. And then hydration is also something athletes are usually missing. So we want to make sure there's that component as well. Yes. So when I ask athletes about smoothies, I like to start with like, what is your starting smoothie recipe? Like, what level are we starting at? And most of the time they are like, I'm going to do a banana and milk and ice. And I'm like, okay, nice. That's a great foundation. But that's kind of level 1. So let's see how we can level it up and add a little bit more protein, add a little bit more color. It's great because you can sneak so much in. Let's see. I tell my athletes it's really important to sneak in vegetables if they can. So throw in a handful of spinach. You're not going to taste it, okay? And nobody's eating enough greens. So just a little handful here and there will go a long way as well.
Yeah, it almost feels painful for these athletes sometimes to think like, you want me to eat a handful of spinach, but raw, yeah. But in the smoothie, you don't even notice. So just get those wins where you can.
Absolutely.
That's great. So these are all of the bases. These are kind of the things that we're going to think about as we build a smoothie. And I love that you threw the performance plate in there, because we do talk a lot about that. And it does just help this be consistent with everything else they're doing. So they can kind of think of it, and then you're going to help us with some recipes later. So that's kind of what we can put in the back of our heads, is this performance plate and this idea that we need all these important nutrients in the smoothie. So you're making it sound really easy, but tell me, when do you recommend different combinations? So looking at the performance plate, looking at the different ways that you can combine nutrients, we can alter this based on what we're doing for the day. So what would you say for a pre-practice, post-practice, and then breakfast smoothie? Kind of how would you recommend to put these building blocks into these different types of smoothies?
Yes, very important. So the biggest thing I see is when athletes are just starting to make smoothies, they just do kind of fruit and water. And that is a great smoothie to have before practice. So heading into practice, you want something light, you want something very much carb focused. So lots of fruit, hydration, maybe a little bit of milk as well is great. But then for after practice smoothies, before bed, and then also breakfast smoothies in the morning. So probably the majority of time, you're going to want to make sure you're adding plenty of protein and hopefully some healthy fats as well. So a little bit more of almost a meal type smoothie for after practice or in the morning to start you off for the day.
What are some of those proteins that you like to throw in those smoothies?
Oh yes, I didn't even say that. So you don't have to do protein powder as an athlete. Hopefully you're getting a lot of your protein from whole food sources. Greek yogurt is kind of an MVP for athletes. I tell my athletes you should be going through at least 1 tub or more of Greek yogurt a day, or those little cups as well. It's such a convenient, easy source of protein, and it tastes delicious. So that's great for smoothies. It makes them nice and creamy. Milk gives you about 8 grams per cup. I'm a big fan of the Fairlife and Core Power milks as well. They are just filtered in a way that takes out some of the fat and adds some more carbs and protein, which is normally what they need more of. And then peanut butter as well. We have healthy fats and then some protein in there also. So yeah, all good options. Actually, another kind of off the wall one is going to be egg whites that you can mix into smoothies, and cottage cheese is another one, but it has definitely a different flavor and texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you egg whites from the carton, or is that where, like, the carton of egg whites? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes. Those cartons can be really convenient.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh my goodness. Well, that's great. So that pre-practice one being that kind of simple fruit and water. Portion wise, one of the things people don't always know when they're doing something for the first time is how much of something should I be putting in there? What, just like eyeball wise, what are you recommending for people, volume and portion of smoothies?
Yeah, that's a great question. Roughly, so I like to use the hand method for fruit. 1 serving is going to be about the size of your fist. So if you want, maybe if you have less time to digest and you want a little bit less, maybe just 1 fist is okay. But most of the time, I would say at least 2. So maybe 1 fist of fruit and then 1 of vegetables. Or you could do half a banana or a full banana. So the fist is probably good for like berries. And then obviously for veggies, like a handful or 2. Raw vegetables, you're going to need a little bit more. So don't be shy. It'll blend down. And then with protein, normally the hand method is good for like pieces of chicken. But for protein, you want to get at least 20 grams of worth. I think that's about a cup of Greek yogurt. It kind of depends what kind you have. Or 1 scoop of protein powder is going to be about 20 to 30 grams as well.
Those are both great things because they can adjust for our little petite gymnast and our large linebacker. We can have very different smoothies based on those different size measurements, but at the same time, something good. And there's some temptation to just fill the container that you have, and that's not necessary. The container, whatever your blender size may be, whether it's an individual serving or a large blender for multiple people, should not determine what goes in that smoothie. So I like that. Use your hand, be a little more thoughtful, and then that 20 grams of protein is a really good target.
Absolutely. And that's so true about filling the size, because some people use the huge blenders that take up your whole counter, and then others use just the little mini magic bullets. So make sure you make the smoothie based on what you need and not the size of the blender.
Yes, exactly. Unless you're going to save it for later. I mean, you can always make more, throw it in the freezer, and then pop it out into the fridge the night before and have a smoothie ready to go in the morning. I mean, that's totally an option, but be careful. You don't want to take 4 servings of a smoothie right before you go to a practice. You're going to feel that. Portion still matters.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, then, Sara, I hear you have some smoothie ideas and go-tos for us. Would you be willing to share those?
Yes, I would love to. I brought a couple recipes. So the first one, we're just going to call the classic. It's a foundation. I've been drinking it for years. It's like the back of my head. And then, so we'll do a classic kind of berry chocolate protein smoothie. And then we'll do a pumpkin spice smoothie because I know it's still summer, but pumpkin season's coming. So we'll get that one out. And then the third one will be a golden mango turmeric smoothie, which I've been loving and really good for your immune system and recovery. So should I just read through the ingredients?
Yeah, let's go for it. Those sound amazing and so unique. So let's start with the classic. Tell me what you throw in there.
Okay, wonderful. So lots of frozen berries, frozen banana. You can do whatever milk you prefer, if it's almond milk or regular milk. And for the protein source, either Greek yogurt or protein powder works. And then I prefer to do chia seeds for my healthy fats, going to add some fiber, protein, healthy fats. And you can also do almond butter as well. So those two are kind of interchangeable depending what you have on hand. I pretty much always have all of these. So it's kind of my backup if like I haven't been to the grocery store in 2 weeks and my fridge is empty. I do like to tell athletes it's so much better to use frozen instead of fresh. So frozen fruits and vegetables are just as healthy as fresh. They don't go bad as fast, and you can obviously save a lot of money. It's like $10 for a pack of blueberries these days. So there's not a lot of things I'm like, all my athletes need this, but having a huge bag of frozen berries, I think, is a good staple. They're so full of antioxidants. They're good for brain health. And then the banana as well is going to add some sweetness, potassium, some more carbs. So that's the classic, our little base.
What's your portion for the chia seeds? How much do you usually add?
Oh, yes. So I forgot to mention, usually for healthy fats, about a thumb worth is a good kind of bar to start with. I personally do 2 tablespoons. So I have, tablespoons. Yes, I think that's about, I forgot how many grams, maybe like 6 or 7 grams of protein and quite a good bit of fiber too.
Yeah. Now, what about ice? Do you put any ice in your smoothies?
Okay, so I personally try not to add ice because it makes the texture so much creamier if you don't. And you get that like really good Instagram worthy, like creamy scoop of smoothie. But you definitely can, especially if you need to get more hydrated or you just don't have enough like volume. So yes.
Yeah, and I think some of our athletes, they need every ounce that goes in their body to be a calorie. Some of our really endurance, high intensity athletes, so that ice may be decreasing the volume and calories of that smoothie. So for our high endurance ones, maybe they're better off with just that frozen fruit as the creamy texture.
Yeah, that's so true. Most of the time, athletes are under fueling and like are having a hard time getting enough calories for their training load. So yeah, absolutely right there.
All right, now what about this fall one you have? I love this. Tell me about your pumpkin spice.
Yes, I am a white girl at heart. So I made this last year and it was so good. So beware, you might get addicted. So same thing, we can do vanilla protein powder or we can do Greek yogurt, up to your preference there. We're going to do banana, and now we're going to do some canned pumpkin puree. Beware to not buy like pie filling. Okay, we want canned pumpkin puree, and like about half of a cup there is good. And again, almond milk or regular milk. And the other secret ingredient or 2 is going to be pumpkin pie spice. So hopefully you have that in your seasoning cabinet. And then vanilla extract as well. It's just going to make it so delicious and creamy. So
all right, well, how much of those? Because I could see that being a disaster from my kitchen if my kids were to go try to make it. How much pumpkin spice and how much vanilla?
Okay, important, yes. 1 teaspoon for the pumpkin pie spice, and then about half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So a little bit goes a long way there. About a cup of liquid of your choice, so milk or almond milk. And then we are going to throw about a whole banana in there as well. So a whole banana, half a cup of pumpkin, protein, and yes.
That sounds so good. I'm definitely giving that a try. I can't wait to try that one out and to think that that's like a great healthy option. I love it. All right.
It's healthy.
You have
and delicious.
What?
Healthy and tasty.
Exactly. And that's how nutrition should be. So tell me your last one. This one sounds really interesting.
Awesome. So this is for my athletes who are burned out on kind of the typical smoothie with the berries and like either chocolate banana. And they just want something that's a little bit different flavor profile. So I'll just read through. We're going to go about a cup of frozen mango, a frozen banana, half a cup of Greek yogurt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, half teaspoon of ground ginger, about a little pinch of black pepper, about a cup of almond milk, and you can add another scoop of protein powder or do like a full cup of Greek yogurt. So whatever the serving size is to get you up to 20 grams of protein there, at least 20. So what I love about this is it's so rich in antioxidants, turmeric and ginger. So the black pepper is actually going to help activate the turmeric and just help with so much anti-inflammatory, and it's so rich in antioxidants. It's going to like kind of supercharge your recovery. And most of the time athletes, we struggle with some nutrient density, and so we want to use every chance we get to kind of bring that inflammation down is going to be awesome. So This one's super tasty, and it does stay pretty like creamy and sweet with the yogurt, and the frozen mango will make it pretty creamy as well.
I cannot wait to try that one too. I've been into turmeric lately and it that's such a unique different it is smoothies are so great, but if you're using the same fruits all the time and the same seasonings, then it gets a little bit boring in the routine. So this will add a little bit of both of all three of these add like a different dimension to the smoothie, which I love.
Yes, hopefully we're not getting burned out, the regular recipe.
The classic. Everyone needs the classic. The classic is great.
Right. But it's good to mix it up. And I'll say usually frozen mango is what I get as a favorite fruit a lot. I ask everybody their favorite fruit and veggie, but then how often are we actually eating our favorite fruit? So working that mango in there, it's going to be really good.
And you, like you said, it's such an economical option. As a mom of athletes, it's a lot of food that has to come in and out of this house. And so having the nutritious options that are not at the top of the price bracket are the best. And so these frozen fruits are a way to get this really high nutrient food at a really low cost and to be available all the time, to not feel this pressure of constantly having to have the fresh mango on the table when it's January in Chicago. That's just a really difficult thing. So I think this is a really realistic option. It's realistic that the teenagers themselves can go grab a bag of frozen fruit from any grocery store, or parents can keep the freezer stocked. And this is an easy option for them to make their own really nutritious meal, snack, post recovery smoothie, whatever it may be, breakfast. This is the way you can do it. And these are some really practical tools. One of the other things that I like to do is, as my fruit, sometimes everybody's really into blueberries, and then either we end up not being home for a couple days and they start to go back, they're starting to look like they're at the end, but we have a lot of them left. I'll just throw them in the freezer. So rather than throw produce away, throw it in the freezer and you can add it to a smoothie.
I love that. Yeah, that's so important because how much food are we really wasting? And that's just, dollars down the drain. And especially today, it can feel like it's expensive to eat healthy. There's so many expensive products. It's like $10 for a box of granola bars. So always making things yourself is going to be cheaper, but this is kind of an easier way to make things yourself. And especially for the busy mom, I try to encourage all my athletes to get in the kitchen with your parents. What I don't want is I give them a list of things to try and then they just give that list as a list of things for their parents to do. And I'm like, no, no, no. The more that you guys can start taking that like autonomy now and learning just little simple things in the kitchen, it's going to go so far for you. Well, one, it'll help you get ready for college, but just being able to have that autonomy of like, I know how to make myself a good snack, and hopefully you're going to feel really good after too, and take a little bit of burden off of the parents. So
Yes, absolutely. So, what are some common mistakes before we let these everybody go? What do they want to make sure to avoid? Anything when making a smoothie?
yes, absolutely. So just like we talked about, making the wrong type, making a super heavy smoothie with a bunch of protein and fat or peanut butter right before practice, or like just a huge one, not going to feel so good on the stomach. But then same thing after practice, forgetting to add the protein and the healthy fats there and under fueling. Also, it's not going to be as balanced. So those are kind of the two main ones. But I also say athletes are always forgetting to throw in that little handful of veggies. So that's a great one to do. And then this is kind of a small particular thing, but every time after I make a smoothie and I'm done drinking it, I immediately fill the glass with water and rinse it out, because the worst thing you can do is leave that smoothie container to get all crusty and disgusting. And it's going to sit in the sink for like 7 days because nobody wants to touch it. Whereas it's a small thing, but just looking to rinse it out right afterwards will help you to make it more of a repeatable habit.
Yes.
And we're all about consistency. So rinse out your smoothie containers.
Yes, I love that so much. Rinse out the smoothie container and the blender. Just rinse it
Yes.
right away. It's super easy and it's awful if you don't. Every parent has just thanked you for saying that. And every teenager, you're going to want to do it if it's easy. If it's not easy, you're not going to want to do it. And it's hard to scrape off those cups if it's not fresh. So,
So true.
oh, I love that. That's so good. Now, Sara, you are a really high level beach volleyball player. Is there anything you want to shout out or help your beach volleyball colleagues, athletes, your people that you coach, anything specific to them with smoothies or anything in particular for nutrition that you just want to throw in?
That's a great one. Specific for beach volleyball, I mean, the hydration piece is really important. So looking for like eating your electrolytes here, we're getting some potassium with the bananas. And you can, oh, I didn't even add, you can throw avocados into smoothies too, which are super high in potassium and fiber. So, and then magnesium, spinach has magnesium, which is not another electrolyte. The milk and yogurt's going to give you some calcium. And then depending on your day, you don't need to add salt to the smoothie, but just looking for those extra sources of hydration is going to be really important. Volleyball is a very physically demanding sport.
I was also thinking, I've been seeing some advertisements for, I'm going to use air quotes here, supplements for growth for teenagers. And I was thinking this smoothie is a perfect supplement for growth. If you want the nutrients that you need to grow taller, drink a smoothie. You know, you're going to have your calcium, vitamin D, you're going to get the protein that you need, you're going to get the carbohydrates your body needs in order to continue to do those things. I mean, a smoothie is such a supplement for growth, if that's what we're going to talk about.
I love that. Yes. And like always looking for the whole food source rather than some pill or powder that's on a counter or, not even refrigerated is going to go so much farther for you. So yes. And we have to get better at the marketing our healthy foods. So that's a great like label to put on it.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So tell my listeners, where can they find you? Because you have some really amazing ideas.
So right now, Instagram's the best place. My handle is it's Coach Sara with an underscore.
Well, this has been really fun to walk through these really simple, flexible fueling options for our teenagers. I love that you are encouraging them to experiment with some flavors and ideas. I would love to see our listeners share their favorite smoothies. Please subscribe to the podcast. It helps us grow, and send in any questions you have for future nutrition topics. But Sara, before you leave today, can you share with our listeners what's your favorite nutritious snack?
Yes. So right now I have a Ninja Creamy, which makes really good high protein ice creams. And I have been experimenting with it and I'm obsessed with it. So that will have to be my answer. But in general, I love like snacking on carrots and popcorn as well. Those are just good little munchy things for.
What has been your go-to blender for smoothies? Do you have one? This is not paid advertisement. This is just personal preference. Sara, what's your preference of blenders?
That's a great question. Right now, I'm just using a little magic bullet from Walmart. I think it was like $20. So I love it because it's small and convenient. And I think I'm probably going to make the motor explode because I make so many smoothies with it. But that's the easiest one. And I know that they have a lot of awesome top of the line smoothies out there as well if you want a more high powered one. But you don't need anything fancy to eat healthy. So that's a good takeaway.
That's great. My go-to, I actually went to Costco and got every
Costco.
blender they had and tried them out against each other.
No way.
And my favorite was the least expensive one, which was the Cuisinart. I liked it because it has a glass container. It also, rather than plastic, I just prefer to use glass.
It's
Um,
awesome.
I think it's easy to clean, all the things. And I also liked it because size wise, it fit better in my kitchen. Some of them were so big that I had a hard time putting it anywhere that worked well in the kitchen. And then it was the easiest to clean, which to me, if it's easy to clean, I'll use it more. So I ended up using the Cuisinart from Costco if anybody wants a bigger one recommendation. And it was, I think I got it for $75 on sale. So it was more than 20, but it'll probably last the next 20 years. So either option is great. I didn't do any of the mini ones, I should say. I only did the real kitchen ones. And so I did even like the industrial Vitamix, like big ones, but I just preferred the
Oh, wow.
Cuisinart. I thought it was better.
It's such a great investment because you can use it for everything, like sauces as well. Yeah, definitely worth it to get a good one. And you're so right. Like having things that are easy to clean, it makes all the difference. Like just the little convenience, it's really important. So that's
Yes.
great.
It's the practical nature of it. I'm not going to do it every day if it's not easy to clean. It'll quickly become much more of a chore and I'm just going to find something else. But if it's easy, then it's quick and I'm good. I didn't want 10 parts laying all over my kitchen drying. And that's what this was. It's all one piece. So it was a lot easier to just clean it, have it dry, one piece and be done. So
Making the right choice, the easy choice is going to go so far.
yeah, absolutely. All right. And I ask everyone on my podcast to finish this sentence. The best fueled athletes do what?
Yes, the best fueled athletes are consistent at the daily boring habits when nobody's watching. They're doing the things that are not glamorous. Their parents aren't making them do it. Just those daily routines consistently will pay off.
Sara, thank you so much for joining me. I hope everyone will check you out. I will put your recipes and your Instagram handle down below. So please check Sara out, give her some love, and thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
This is my time, ready to shine, brighter than all of the lights, 'cause when it's game time, seconds away and the game's on the line, there ain't no doubt in my mind, beating the buzzer like, this is my time, this is my moment, you better bet that I'm on it.